Okay, we should be good to go now. I need to actually find out a way to see my chat. This is a new setup, obviously. I need to figure out where I am on this. I need to make sure that I'm always at the right side of the thing. I'm not used to doing it like how I'm doing it right now. Obviously, first time for everything. So we're going to have some hiccups. We're going to have some 50-50 things. I might step into where this screenshot is over here. Probably fucking 15 or 20 times. But I'm excited to do it like this now. I wanted to make some upgrades because obviously one of the big things that changes from me not doing watch parties, which I will be doing watch parties, at least next week I'm going to do a watch party. Any event that's on at a good time, I'll do a watch party for because I genuinely miss them. Like, I miss doing watch parties. I just miss being with the fucking boys. The problem is the time that the UFC's on it, another time. Was good Rito, was good Triple Threat, was good Viz, was good Fluffy. I hope you boys enjoy the new setup. If there's anything you guys can think of that I can put in different places, I was like, might as well have the fights over here, might as well have the actual two main events down here, but I'm happy to be back. I'm just happy to be back. Fuck Reinier the Ritter. I think Reinier the Ritter is like one of the weirdest examples that you're going to bring up in like 5 years to somebody, because I'm not sure where Reinier the Ritter goes from here, if I'm being completely honest. Reinier the Ritter I could legitimately see going on, what, like a 10-loss streak? Not 10, 10's crazy, like a 4-loss streak after this. It was one of the weirdest performances I've ever seen from a fighter in a main event. Because Reinier the Ritter and all of his other fights, you look at and you were like, how the fuck is he winning? None of this looks good. None of this looks like it should work. And you thought the same thing about dricus du Plessis, yet they both continued to win. So whatever devil magic was going on in that time, whatever was happening in that time, for both of those guys to consistently be able to win has obviously worn off now, and 185 is actually healing. We're getting the best contenders back where they were. Need the Discord link. Somebody help him out with the Discord link. I only have one monitor in front of me right now. Usually I have 3, so I can't help you out with it right now, but I'll get you one. You know how fucking shit works. I'll get you one in the end. How did Reinier the Ritter lose to him? Brendan Allen's now in like a weird space. I don't know how to consider him. Do you guys think that Brendan Allen is a top tier, like, is he a top tier contender? Is he a top tier gatekeeper? In my mind, the way that I'm kind of thinking about him right now is as a top tier gatekeeper. But I also did think that Nasty Nimavov was the same thing, and he proved me wrong, and he's actually able to beat big fighters and actually able to go and get big wins. Triple Threat, I appreciate the membership, brother. I appreciate the membership a ton. Peak Day of Life, seeing Reinier the Ritter losing. I need to fucking have the chat so I can see it properly. Give me 1 second. Let me pull this across. So I can actually see all the boys properly. There we go. Oh, fuck. I just moved everything. No, we're good now. We're good. We're good. Okay, we're back. Peak Day of Life, seeing Reinier the Ritter losing by Chimaev versus Rosenstrike finish. You actually couldn't have said it better. I could not have said it better myself. That was one of the most insane finishes I've seen in a high-level UFC fight in a long time. I roasted, and I mean roasted, Shamil Gaziev for losing a fight like that not too long ago. So I should have the same opinion for Reinier the Ritter. For Reinier the Ritter, I should have the same opinion 100%. That was bad. And now that you say that, and I think back to how I thought about that fight, it's just gotten worse in my head. How do you go 4 rounds? And I'm gonna lead this on to a bigger point. But how do you go 4 rounds as a UFC top 5 championship contender? Because if he wins this fight, like, he's getting thrown in conversations against Khamzat chimaev. He was 1, maybe like 2 fights away from a title fight. And we're giving up. That's what he did. He gave up in that fight. And trust me, I know what it's like to feel tired. I know what it's like to not want to do another round, especially because they were essentially just grappling out there. Fuck it. There's a ton of times where I've been like, nah, I'll take a break on this one, I'll do the next one. But I'm not a professional UFC fighter. It is not my literal job to do that, to fight. And that was actually kind of an embarrassing performance from Reinier the Ritter. Why do I think it was that bad? I think it was that bad because he cuts too much weight. There was this whole kind of like weird meme thing of Reinier the Ritter like standing on the scales. I think it was like 4 days or 5 days before his fight, being like he's 100 kg, which is I don't know how I don't know how exactly the measurements go, but you multiply by like 2.2 or something. So I think he's about 220 pounds. If you're 220 pounds the week of your fight, bet on the other guy. Bet on the other guy immediately. You can't do it inside the UFC. You can't do it anymore. You can't cut 40 pounds and expect to just be okay and expect to be able to get through fights, especially when you're going up against high-level people. And Brendan Allen is a high-level guy. Brendan Allen is really, really good. Thought René Ritter's going to go full dricus mode in the later rounds, but bro just quit. Yeah, his cardio was weird. Like, his cardio was really, really bad. I'm so pissed at René Ritter for this. He got absolutely cardio mocked. The crazy thing was, it's not like he got Merabbed either. Like, Merab is someone where, like, if you lose to Merab, listen, we get it. Like, Merab out cardios 99% of people ever. So it kind of makes sense for if you lose to Merab for... It kind of makes sense for if you lose to Merab for it to be via cardio. For you to get gassed out by Brendan Allen, who, if you're thinking about the guys, like, top 50 UFC cardios ever, top 50 gas tanks ever inside the UFC, Brendan Allen doesn't even come into the conversation. If someone says Brendan Allen, it's like, bro, what the fuck are you talking about? What do you mean Brendan Allen? Like, Brendan Allen's not in that space. He's not in that sphere. Allen should fight dricus du Plessis to see if he really is a top contender. Fluffy should fight Strickland. Khamzat should fight Imavov, and then René de Ritter against Kaya Bryo. René de Ritter against Kaya Bryo is disrespectful. Let's give Kaya a real opponent here. That's actually full on disrespect. Let's look at the other ones you said. Allen should fight dricus du Plessis. I like that fight. One of the things that I didn't really like from Brendan Allen in this fight was his call out. His call out was so fucking weird. He was like, I want to fight Khamzat Chimaev. And if Khamzat Chimaev doesn't want to do it, then I want to fight dricus du Plessis. And if dricus du Plessis doesn't want to fight me, then fuck it, we'll do Sean Strickland. I was expecting him to go like 5-6 names deep and be like, we can run it back, René de Ritter, if you want to too. It's like this guy fucking, like, it's like he's asking him dates or something, you know what I mean? He's just on the 3rd, 4th, 5th option. Like, bro, just call out one guy. Khamzat, probably not. You're probably not getting the Khamzat fight. Dricus, you could get that Dricus fight. If you have a good call out, you could definitely get the Sean Strickland fight. Sean Strickland with that win. Rug versus Anatoly Malikin 2 is better than René de Ritter versus Anatoly Malikin. If it's not the UFC, well, to be fair, I actually do care about a lot of fights outside of the UFC. But, bro, realistically, René de Ritter, I'm not sure if he does belong inside. No, okay, I was about to say something crazy. He belongs inside the UFC. This is one bad performance. Let's see what he's in his next fight. I could see a big loss streak. I could see him just kind of falling off from here, but who knows? To be honest, I don't think René de Ritter beats a lot of people now. I agree. That's literally what I just said. I fully agree with that. Let's try René de Ritter to light heavyweight. I love it, Rita. I love how you're thinking right now. You're spitting absolute factos and you're spitting things that are not coming to my brain. We don't like René de Ritter at middleweight. I'll be the first one to say it. I think he cuts too much weight. I think he can't do that in the UFC anymore. And I think he's been found out with that style. If he goes up to light heavyweight right now, in the universe that Alex Pereira goes up to heavyweight, if he goes up to light heavyweight right now, who beats him? Who at light heavyweight right now beats him? Does Yuri beat him? Does Jamal Hill beat him? Does Khalil beat him? Does Ankalaev beat him? I think there's a real question around shit like that. I think to myself, like, who actually beats him? Even at light heavyweight, who actually beats him? My question is, how did he beat Rob? That's a fantastic question. And the answer to that question is, I have no fucking clue. I don't know what's going on with Robert Whittaker. I just don't know how you'd lose fights like that. Like, Fever Dream, maybe? Is dricus du Plessis going to be the same thing? Like, is dricus du Plessis going to lose his next fight to whoever it's up against? Plot armor and spamming knees? Like, there's a few fighters that just look terrible after this. Robert Whittaker looks terrible after this. You look at a guy like Bo Nickel. Bo Nickel does not. This is not the result that Bo Nickel was looking for. Triple threat with the 5. I appreciate you, triple threat, brother. I appreciate you coming through showing love. René de Ritter, weight bullying caught up to him. Have never understood the hype. Always a step behind. He just outsized people and just uses his strength. I pretty much fully agree with that. Like, the weight bully thing, I think, gets you to a certain spot inside the UFC. And I think you can beat a lot of guys in the UFC being a weight bully, like René de Ritter was. But we're kind of lying to ourselves if the signs weren't there. If the signs weren't there in your head that René de Ritter might be fraudulent, you're lying to yourself. All you have to do is look at his first fight inside the UFC. René de Ritter's first fight inside the UFC was almost as big of a gimme as those guys from outside promotions get. When you're coming in from One, or when you're coming in from Bellator or PFL or any of these promotions, you get very quickly an idea of, does Dana White just want to embarrass the other promotion that you came from, or does Dana White actually think of you as a somewhat potential contender? I think that he thought of René de Ritter as a legit contender because he gave him someone dog shit. He gave him a gimme, and he looked fucking terrible. Glad you're back. I appreciate that, Michael Tyson. How are you, brother? Bobby might be washed. I think he is. I think Bobby's done. Bobby's one of those guys that we have to look at now like, just give him an easy fight, please. Let's not Let's not give him anybody too good. Let's not give him anybody too difficult, because if he gives him someone, like if Bobby starts to get fed to up-and-coming contenders, especially at a division like 185, ooh, that shit could be long. That could be really, really long, really, really quickly. No, actually, Charles looked nasty tonight, but it was Davy Grant, so I don't know. Another one where it's like, level of competition. How good do you look versus the level of competition that you're going up against? Charles Jourdain win in his own home, like in his own home country. That's another thing that it's like, Charles Jourdain's not going to get a reception like that in any other country. Is he going to get that boost? Is he going to look that good if he's fighting in fucking Japan or in China? And like, they gave him somebody that he should have beaten. They gave him somebody that he absolutely should have beaten. Someone who maybe shouldn't have beaten the guy that he went up against, although it is probably the worst guy to bet on in the history of MMA. I'm actually super interested. Can any of the boys come up with anybody that's worse to bet on in mixed martial arts than Kevin Holland? I genuinely don't think that there's anybody worse. If you're betting on Kevin Holland, you know the way you'll see on like TikTok or YouTube or whatever, you'll see people come up during the week and they'll be like, here's the 3 locks of the week for UFC 321 or UFC 320, whatever. I think that if anybody includes Kevin Holland in one of those, you should immediately have your account suspended. Immediately. He is the worst person to bet on. Nobody has any idea what's going to happen in a Kevin Holland fight. If you say you do, you're lying. He loses to Mike Mallo. I could see him going into the next fight and beating Khamzat Chimaev. I could actually see that happening. He is that unpredictable, and you just never know what he's going to give you. Today, he gave us absolutely nothing. I thought he was terrible. Give him Malcolm Wellmaker. Malcolm Wellmaker's got a lot of hype now. Got a lot of hype for Malcolm Wellmaker. Oh, we might see that tuned down pretty fast if he gets someone actually really good. If Peyton Talbot wins, he should fight Malcolm Wellmaker after this fight. I need that fight. If Peyton Talbot wins, he's not going to fight Malcolm Wellmaker unless Malcolm Wellmaker gets like 3 wins in that space. But that would be a fun just striker versus striker matchup. Even though the UFC seems to hate putting those together where it's like prospect versus prospect. I swear if Kevin didn't get kicked in his balls, that was one thing that like you never see inside the UFC that I think that we should see a lot more. Kevin Holland actually took like the full 5 minutes. Most of the times, and I can kind of understand it because you're a UFC fighter. Probably the biggest thing that comes into your head when you get kicked low is don't be a bitch, just get up and fight it out, especially when you start to hear boos from the entire crowd. But Kevin Holland actually took like the full 5 minutes, and he might have looked worse after it. I don't know if he got hit in the perfect spot. I don't know what happened to him, but like Kevin Holland just looked absolutely terrible today. Malcolm Wellmaker is fighting Cody Haddon at I think it's UFC 322. Didn't even see that one scheduled. There's so many fights that go on now that I just don't even see on Twitter in the fucking sea of stuff that comes up. He took way more than 5. That is true. But that's because he kept on... Let's not even get into the referees today. Fuck it, we'll get into the referees today because I did actually want to talk about it. What is going on with UFC reffing? Before, my biggest problem was the judges. Now it's like... Every 2 events, it's like, what are we doing here? You stopped the fight with 3 seconds left. Now all of a sudden we're fighting again. It just it doesn't make any sense. We're not taking points. We should be taking points. There's like 5 or 6 cage grabs in some fights, and you're like, when are the points gonna get taken here? I felt Mallo robbed Holland. I didn't think that at all, to be honest. I didn't think that at all. I thought that Mike Mallo was just better. There was some fights on this card where I was like, it's kind of leaning 50-50 on robbery. One of them that a lot of people have talked about as a robbery candidate is Chito Vera against Ayman Zahabi. Chito Vera goes into every fight, or like at the end of every fight, you think to yourself, Chito Vera, not that he did win the fight, but he should have won the fight. Like that he absolutely should have been the guy to win that fight, and he almost never does. I've never seen somebody have all of it. He's like got attributes maxed and just like will to win at 0. Like John Jones, all these other guys where you're like, oh yeah, he's just a natural born winner. He just never loses. Chito Vera is literally the opposite of that. How do you have such a great chin? He's got pretty good striking. Like, his striking's not bad. He's got great cardio. He can do most things pretty well. Like, it's not like he's got any huge holes in his game. But we seem to come out of every fight going like, damn, he probably should have won that fight, and he just didn't. Ayman Zahabi, something that I'm kind of looking at is like, how far can Ayman Zahabi go? Ayman Zahabi's biggest limiting factor is by far his age. When you look at Ayman Zahabi, if you hadn't watched Ayman Zahabi fight before, like, there's a lot of guys who just don't watch prelims or don't watch, like early prelims on main cards or anything like that. If you hadn't watched Ayman Zahabi fight, you probably think he was like 27. You're like, oh, up and coming contender. What can he do well? You know what I mean? Like, could he challenge at 135? Then you look him up and you're like, holy fuck, this guy's 68. How is this guy still inside the UFC? How is this guy fucking 7-3 and he's 68 years old? It's insane. So I don't know how far I can go just because he's super, super old. The Dober point was crazy, bro. There's fucking so many. You can pick out at least 3 every event. Wellmaker's opponent pulled out, right? I'll be honest, I didn't even know the fight was fucking happening. So I don't know. He could have pulled out. Zahabi gets battered in his next fight if it's not in Canada. There is some fighters like that where I look at and I'm like, you get boosted so much more by the crowd than I think normal people think about. Like, the crowd affects some fighters a ton. It doesn't affect other fighters a lot. Some people get boosts off it. Some people, like, hate it. Some people love it. I think that he gets boosted by it a ton. I think that he gets boosted by a ton. I think Mallo gets boosted by it a ton. I think anybody who doesn't usually have a home crowd gets boosted by it more than, say, like a Sean O'Malley, who's had a positive crowd at every single fight that he's had. I think Cheeto won that fight. Like, there's an argument. And, like, I'm not going to sit here and call you crazy if you think Cheeto won that fight. It was a close fight. But I just don't think Cheeto did enough. I think that Ayman Zahabi was like the textbook in that fight of, was he better than Cheeto? No. Did he win the fight by UFC judging? I think yes. I think that he just out-volumed him. He just outstruck him. Zahabi's like only a year older than Jose Aldo, or a year younger than Jose Aldo, but it's insane. Like, you can pick out UFC fighters right now where you're like, you look at a guy like fucking Adesanya or something like that, and you're like, Ayman Zahabi's 4 years older than Adesanya. He might not actually be, but like, if I said that, it wouldn't shock you at all. I think if Cheeto makes it that close to the point to make it a robbery, then Zahabi's not that good. I agree. I fully agree. I think that Zahabi is... Is he top 10? Is he top 8? Is he top 5? Maybe. Like, he's someone that if I was looking at him right now and I was his friend right now, I'd be like, is there a point in you being a top 10 UFC fighter for the next year and a half, 2 years? Because that tail off is coming. That, like, end of your career is coming. Or should we just transition into something else now? You look at what Faraz is doing. His brother, Faraz Abi, if you don't know who he is, Coach GSP, you've definitely seen him before. Faraz is going to make good money for the next probably 30 years, coaching, doing Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, doing all of this other stuff. Would you not look at what he's done and maybe go into that? I have no clue how Ayman Zahabi hasn't got fraud checked yet. He's not anyone. He's just not good. Anyone who has a will to win will beat him in the top 15. I think he will get beat. Who he gets beat by, I don't know. And I think that it's probably going to be a pretty bad beating when he loses. Like, when you think about just who he can go up against, like a Song Yadong. If Song Yadong loses to Sean O'Malley, if Sean O'Malley loses, does he go up against him? You look at a Mario Bautista. Like, he's going to lose to pretty much all of those guys. And Umar, if Umar loses to Mario Bautista, like, I say it a ton when you get into those top ranks of 170 or 185 or 155 or 145 or 135. There's no gimmies anymore. Who's a gimme in the top 6 of 135? Who are you fighting next? I think all of those guys beat the shit out of them. And I think it's probably going to be a pretty brutal beating when they do go up against them. I think Reinier Ritter versus Caio Braio could be an option. I've seen a bunch of people suggest that. I don't love it. I think that Caio's, like, it's okay. I think that Caio will still probably beat Reinier Ritter, though. Like, Caio's just a worse style than Brendan Allen. Like, Caio does what Brendan Allen does, but probably does it a little bit better. He might not be as high level, as technical of a wrestler. But when you think about mixing it up with the striking, like, Caio Braio is better than what Brendan Allen is. I think dricus versus Allen and Strickland versus Fluffy. I was so annoyed that Fluffy didn't get to fight. Fluffy had to pull out today. Because Fluffy would have dog walked Reinier Ritter. And I'm all on the Fluffy hype train. I've been for about 2.5 years. Like, even seeing him before he's outside, like, the top 30 inside the UFC, I was like, bro, this guy, when you watch him fight, he beats up people that he shouldn't beat up. And he does it with a style that can translate. Because some people you see... Fuck me, bro. I just fucking struggled to get that one out. Because some people you see will go and they will beat a top 10, or they'll go and they'll beat a top 30 guy, a top 40 guy, a top 50 guy, and they'll beat him via round 1 KO, a round 1 submission. So I'm kind of wary of guys that have like 4 round 1 KOs that are now going up against a top 15 guy, and they might have beat the 80th best guy, the 60th best guy, the 50th best guy, and the 35th best guy inside the UFC for their division. Because when they actually go up against a top tier guy, how do they deal with that? Because you're not going to KO everybody inside round 1 unless you're just going to turn out to be one of the greatest of all time. And that's kind of how I look at... I literally have zero idea who the fuck I was just talking about, but fuck it, we'll roll with it. I think Ayman is a dark horse and can possibly beat Umar. Nah, he's not going to beat Umar. I still think Umar is the most talented 135er in that division right now. Marab's cardio is just unbelievable. Like, if you go back and rewatch that Umar Marab 1 fight, You'll see Umar was dog walking him in the first 2 rounds. He just couldn't keep up. Merab's cardio just broke him. Wonderboy's almost 43, bro. Wonderboy is ridiculously old. Like, ridiculously old. How about this, Harry? Fluffy versus Sean, and then Fluffy versus Khamzat, and Yuri versus Ulberg. Interim title. Fucking hell, there's a lot of parts going on here. Fluffy versus Sean. I like. I don't mind it. And then Fluffy versus Khamzat. Okay, fuck it. Yeah, I'm down. Fuck it, let's do it. And Yuri versus Ulberg, interim title. Hate that fight. And then if Yuri beats Poatan, then make Fluffy versus Yuri champ versus champ fight. Okay, there's a lot going on there. Give me a second to fucking process this in my brain. I think more likely what happens in that situation is we go Fluffy versus Sean, Khamzat versus whoever's at 205, and then Fluffy for the interim title. Or Fluffy for the undisputed title, I guess. Just going up against, I don't know who. Who would be the contender at 185 that you go up against? Maybe fucking dricus, plessis. Like, there's a bunch of guys. But I think that I would much rather see Khamzat go up to 205 than see, like, a fight between Ulberg and Yuri or even Khalil or any of these guys at 205 that I just think are mediocre. I think if you have a 185-pound champion like dricus, like Fluffy, like any of these guys, they're a good, well-respected champion. How am I meant to take your division serious if you have Carlos Ulberg as a champion? How am I meant to take your division serious? I can't. I just straight up cannot. I think dricus versus Allen, I'm pretty sure I looked at that before. Everybody loves that dricus versus Brennan Allen matchup. How do I think that matchup goes? I think dricus is just too good for him. Like, I think dricus is just what Reinier Ritter was, but better. But actually good at it. You know what I mean? But actually like a top tier guy at it. I think that Reinier Ritter is like the V1 and dricus du Plessis is the V2 of that style. I think if Volkanovski retires and Merab moves up, then he definitely becomes double champ. I think he beats Movsar and Diego Lopez. If Volkanovski retires and Merab moves up, then he definitely becomes double champ. Holy fuck, we're in double champ fever. Holy fuck. Right now, based on your guys' predictions, we're going to have a double champ in Khamzat Chimaev, in Alex Pereira, who else did we list? We missed somebody. Well, fucking Islam Makhachev, technically. And then also Merab. I need to go to sleep, man. Good to see you back, Harry. Goodbye. I appreciate that. Fluffy's the GOAT, brother. It's good to see you here. I appreciate you being here. And yeah, I'm happy to be back. I'm happy to be doing these post-event recaps. I'm enjoying them just as much as I do the watch parties right now. Pantoja versus Merab. Then if Merab beats Pantoja, then Merab versus Volkanovski. And then if Merab beats Volkanovski, he's a triple champ. I'm delusional. At least we can appreciate good delusion. I love being delusional. And I'll say this right now. Get delusional. Ian Gary double champ. Ian Gary potential triple champ. Could Conor McGregor come back to that 170-pound belt? Let's get delusional. Let's get delusional. UFC White House card. JDM beats Islam Makhachev. Main event. Islam Makhachev, Ilya Topuria. Co-main. Conor McGregor, JDM. Conor McGregor could beat JDM. He could beat JDM for that 170-pound title. And I think if you're handpicking somebody at 170 pounds to be Conor McGregor's best matchup, give him Jack Della. Give him Jack Della, and there's a chance a motivated Conor does it. Okay, that's my delusional rant. That's my delusional rant. God forbid Ian Gary touches the belt. Ian Gary, I think, is probably the most underrated 170-pounder on the planet, just because people don't like him. If you like Ian Gary and you're a fan of Ian Gary, you're in the 0.01%. Because most people just hate him. So when you're hated, you're going to get underrated by people. People are going to be like, yeah, but does he even beat Michael Morales? Does he even beat fucking Joaquin Buckley? Does he even beat any of these guys? Ian Gary's the truth of that 170-pound division. And I promise you right now, you heard my delusional rant about Conor McGregor, which I don't really believe, but I kind of believe. You know what I mean? Like, we're 50-50. Let's get delusional. I do believe that Ian Gary beats him. I fully believe that, 100%. I think Ian Gary, Jack Della, Maddelena, I am 100% sure. I'd shove all of my money in the middle of the table. Give me Ian Gary in that fight. Kickboxing match, JDM and Ian Gary. Give me Ian Gary in that fight. I think 100% Ian Gary beats JDM. This is like 2 weeks talk, 3 weeks talk away when we get to UFC 322, but I do believe that shit. Going back to this event, going back to this fight, and maybe to next week, we can get a little bit of next week talking. I do think that women's 125 is in probably the best spot of any women's division in a long, long, long time. Manon Farrow looked good. Was her fight against Valentina Shevchenko Hall of Fame dog shit? Yes. But Zhang Weili up there, Valentina Shevchenko up there. Is that division better than men's heavyweight? I think it actually is getting to that point. Like, I think it really, really is getting to that point when you look at how bad men's heavyweight is. Ian versus Islam. If Islam wins, then if Ian wins, make fucking hell. Then if Ian wins, then make Divorce Topuria Orc versus Mr. Here's My Lady Ian Gary. Rita, I love how your fucking mind's spewing tonight. I actually love what you're thinking about tonight. You're spitting factuals. You're making a whole bunch of sense. Cook versus Divorcee. Cook versus In the Market. Winner sleeps with Ian Gary's wife. I really do think that you're spitting facts here, Rita. I really do think that you're spitting facts. That's a matchup that the UFC's never seen before. Have her in the middle of the cage. Have her have her ref it, honestly. Have her raise the arm at the end. Have her be in Dana White's role where she places the belt around whoever is her new boyfriend or husband, I guess, or wife or whatever, who the fuck knows. We're like, it's fucking 4 o'clock in the morning. We're getting ultra delusional at this stage. But to run through the event, Charles Jourdain I thought was really, really good. Kyle Nelson, one of the weirdest decisions ever to not stop that fight and to have that fight just like continue on, even though he did stop it. Doesn't make any sense. I thought that Charles Jourdain was really, really good, but we need to see him against a higher level of competition because they're going to do this on UFC cards. On pretty much every UFC card, they've just got random matchups from whatever nation the guy is. If they're in Canada, they're going to give 3 Canadians gimme fights. This is just one of them. So we need to see him against a higher level competition. Manon Farrow, I talked about women's 125. I actually think that division's pretty fucking stacked right now. People might not give it the plaudits that it deserves, but like that title fight is as good as any title fight that you're going to see this year, and Zhang Weili and Valentina Shevchenko could legitimately be a main event. Then going to Marlon Chito Vera and Ayman Zahabi. This was good. It was interesting to see Ayman Zahabi get a win here. I'm just worried about what his next fight looks like. He's one of those guys where you're like, that nasty fight is coming. That nasty KO is coming. Going through Kevin Holland and Mike Mallo. I think that Mike Mallo, like Kevin Holland's just the most unpredictable, worst guy inside of MMA. And in the main event, we talked about a shit ton. I appreciate the boys coming through. I appreciate the boys tuning in. We're going to do post-event recaps for every single one of these. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it a lot. It wasn't as long as I'd like it to be today, but that's just purely because like we don't have a stacked main card. You know, like if we get an Abu Dhabi card or a Saudi Arabia card or something like that, we could be sat here spewing for an hour and a half. So yeah, I appreciate all the boys tuning in. A video will be going live tomorrow, probably around 2-3 p.m. my time. So look out for it. And yeah, peace.